This refers to a method in the scikit-learn library used to check if a machine learning model is designed for regression tasks. Think of it as a built-in label for model type. I'll explain how reliable it is in the following questions. Let's dive in. This statement is correct. The _regressor method is mainly for internal use within scikit-learn itself and not intended for users to determine if a model performs regression. It's not always perfectly accurate, particularly with models you create yourself. Instead, you should use other techniques like checking if a model inherits from the _regressor mixin class. Think of it as an internal kitchen tool, not a reliable menu for customers. This is incorrect. While often similar, is instance, model, regressor mixin, checks if the model directly uses the regressor mixin for regression, while model.is_regressor does its own internal check. They don't always match, especially with custom-built models. The regressor mixin is like a recipe, and is_regressor is like the chef's own assessment. They might not always agree. This statement is false. It usually works for standard scikit-learn regression models, but it isn't guaranteed, particularly for custom models. The method relies on internal attributes which might not always reflect whether a model actually performs regression. It's not a foolproof method. This is also false. Because of how is_regressor can be changed in user-defined models, you cannot reliably use it to see if a custom model is a regressor. It's not designed to be a completely reliable way for outside users to check this. It's unreliable for this purpose. This is the main question. We are checking our understanding of the is_regressor method in scikit-learn's base estimator class, the foundation for many machine learning models. Each option tests different facets of how to interpret the results of this method. I'm talking about the is_regressor method in the scikit-learn library, which is used to check if a model is designed for regression tasks. I want to highlight that the is_regressor method's reliability can be questionable when you're dealing with custom-built estimators. That's because these custom models might not follow scikit-learn's standard conventions for implementing is_regressor. So, you can't always trust this method's results for non-standard models. It's like trying to fit a square peg into a round hole. This is a method in scikit-learn that is often used to check if an estimator is designed for regression tasks. It's important to note that its accuracy is not guaranteed, especially with user-defined estimators. I emphasize that it shouldn't be the primary way you check if a model is a regressor. Think of it as an internal scikit-learn tool, not a public user-facing tool. It's an internal scikit-learn check. This is a base class in scikit-learn. Many scikit-learn estimators inherit from base estimator which provides some basic functionalities like get_params and set_params. The is_regressor method itself is often implemented through inheritance from base estimator. This is a scikit-learn mixin class. A mixin is a class that's designed to add specific functionality to other classes. Regressor mixin provides methods like fit and predict specifically for regression problems. Inheriting from regressor mixin indicates a model is intended for regression. This method is often used in conjunction with the regressor mixin but its results aren't completely reliable for all estimators. I see base estimator as a foundational class in scikit-learn. Many estimators inherit from it, gaining basic functionalities. It's like a parent class providing common tools. This is a mixin class. It adds methods related to regression, like fit and predict to a class. Think of it as a toolbox specifically for regression models. You can combine this with other tools in scikit-learn to construct different models. This method attempts to tell you if a model is meant for regression. However, I should warn you, it's not always reliable, especially with custom models. It's more for internal use within scikit-learn. This statement is false. While usually true for standard scikit-learn regressors, a custom model might not correctly set this. It's not foolproof. This is also incorrect. Backquote is instance backquote directly checks inheritance from backquote regressor mixin backquote. Backquote is underscore regressor, backquote is different, and can give conflicting results. I'd say this is incorrect. You can't depend on backquote as underscore regressor, backquote for custom estimators. The results might be unpredictable. This is the correct statement. Backquote is underscore regressor, backquote is mainly for scikit-learn's internal operations. For users, backquote is instance backquote, checking for inheritance from backquote regressor mixin backquote, is a much safer and more reliable way to check a model's type. This is a quiz about the backquote is underscore regressor backquote method in the popular Python machine learning library, scikit-learn. We'll explore what it does and its limitations. These are the multiple choice options I will evaluate during the quiz. I will check each option against the correct behavior of the backquote is underscore regressor backquote method to determine whether the statement is true or false. This question tests my understanding of the backquote is underscore regressor backquote method within scikit-learn's class structure. I'll focus on whether each statement correctly describes this method's functionality. It is important to understand how this method interacts with standard scikit-learn regressors as well as custom-built estimators. I will carefully assess this statement. I need to verify whether backquote is underscore regressor, backquote, s output consistently reflects a custom estimator's behavior as a regression model. I will consider how developers might implement this method in their own custom estimators and whether that implementation would always accurately signal the intended behavior. This statement suggests that backquote is underscore regressor, backquote is mainly for internal use within scikit-learn, not for direct use by users to determine the type of model. I will evaluate the validity of this claim by considering how developers actually use backquote as underscore regressor, backquote in practice, and whether there are alternatives that are more appropriate for users. I will compare the behavior of these two methods. Backquote is instance, model, regressor mixin, backquote directly checks if the model inherits from backquote regressor mixin backquote, a class indicating a regression model. I'll determine if backquote model.is underscore regressor, backquote always provides the same result, particularly in cases like custom-made estimators. This statement asserts that if a model is a regression model, backquote model.is underscore regressor, backquote will always return backquote true backquote. I will check if this holds true for standard scikit-learn regressors and whether it continues to hold true for custom estimators built by users. I'll explain the isregressor method in scikit-learn. It's a method within the basesestimator class, designed to check if an estimator is intended for regression tasks. It's important to remember that it's primarily an internal tool, not a foolproof way to verify a model's type from the outside. Think of it like a label on a box. It usually tells you what's inside, but sometimes it can be inaccurate or misleading. In scikit-learn, basesestimator is a base class for all estimators. It provides a common framework and several useful methods, including isregressor. Many estimators inherit from this class to get these common functions. This question explores the isregressor method's reliability in determining whether a scikit-learn model is used for regression. This statement is false because a custom-built model might not implement the method correctly. The isregressor method isn't always reliable. This one's also false. Directly checks if a model inherits from regressor a mixin indicating a regression model. isregressor, however, has more leeway and doesn't guarantee equivalence. Incorrect. You can't reliably use isregressor to check custom estimators since its behavior is flexible. This is correct. isregressor is mostly for internal scikit-learn use and is not meant for users to verify model type externally. It's better to use ISINSTANCE with mixins like regressor for accurate external model type checking. This refers to a method, backquote is underscore regressor backquote, within the scikit-learn library. Scikit-learn is a popular Python library for machine learning. This specific method is designed to check if a given model is intended for regression tasks, predicting continuous values. I'll explain more about its quirks later. This statement is correct. The _is_regressor method is mostly for scikit-learn's internal use. It's not designed to be a reliable way for you to check a model's type. Instead, use as instance, model, regressor mixin, for more reliable results. This is the main question of the quiz. It asks you to assess your understanding of how _regressor works within scikit-learn. This quiz probes your understanding of how this method interacts with models. Let's dive into each option. Incorrect. While usually true for standard scikit-learn regression models, this can fail with custom-built models that don't correctly implement _regressor, Incorrect. Is instance, model, regressor mixin, directly checks if a model inherits from regressor mixin, a class that indicates a model is for regression. While often the same, there are edge cases and custom models where they differ. This is also incorrect, because _regressor can be overridden in custom estimators. You can't depend on it reliably for external model type checking. In scikit-learn, base estimator is a base class for all estimators. It provides a common interface and some basic functionalities. Think of it as the foundation upon which all other estimator types are built. This is a mixin class. Mixins are classes designed to add specific functionalities to other classes. Regressor mixin adds the methods needed for regression, like fitting a model to data and making predictions. This is a method, often added to estimators, that attempts to tell you if the estimator is intended for regression problems. However, I want to emphasize that it's not always perfectly reliable, particularly with custom-made estimators. I use it to help internally within scikit-learn, not as a primary way to determine model type. This is a multiple-choice question that evaluates understanding of _regressor, s behavior and limitations within scikit-learn. This statement is incorrect. While it is often true for standard scikit-learn models, it isn't guaranteed, especially for custom estimators. A custom-made model might not implement the method correctly. Incorrect. The is instance function directly checks if a class inherits from regressor mixin. While related, the is_regressor method can give a different answer in some unusual situations or with custom estimators. No, this statement is incorrect. Because custom estimators might override the behavior of _regressor, you can't count on it for consistent results. This is the correct answer. This is the right way to look at it. _regressor helps with internal scikit-learn processes. It's not a foolproof way to check the model type for users. Scikit-learn provides tools for building and evaluating machine learning models. Type checking is important to make sure models are used correctly. This question focuses on a specific type checking method.